Do you love our movie episodes? Don't worry, they're here to stay. The Strange and Beautiful Book Club will continue to provide movie discussions of all your favorite and lesser-known movies in the fantasy, horror, and sci-fi genres. We've also added a monthly book club episode. Check out our website or Instagram for the monthly book club calendar. You can also look forward to more discussions of books and their movie adaptations on our new bi-weekly schedule. Be sure to follow us on Instagram to stay up to date on what books we will be discussing next. Welcome back, friends.
Welcome back.
It's time for another episode of the Strange and Beautiful Book Club, a movie episode, The Fifth Element.
Yep, and I'm visiting today.
So before we get started, hi, I'm Rachel.
And I'm Matt.
And I'm Kate.
Welcome to the Strange and Beautiful Book Club. All right, I feel like we should just push play on Kate and just
Let me go.
Go.
First of all, I would like to say thank you so much for letting me jump in on this.
Oh, you're welcome.
I had a friend call me at like 11 in the evening a week ago, and I could tell that they had all been imbibing a little bit. She had me on speaker with people I don't know. She lives up in Philadelphia, and she's like, Kate, what should I know about The Fifth Element? And I was, why, lots of things. And this is why you should watch it. And I just went into this thing, and the conversation didn't last long enough, and I just really didn't get to share enough of the movie. So the next morning I said, Rachel, when are you doing?
When are you doing The Fifth Element?
Yeah.
And can I do it with you?
Can I do
was
it
like,
with you?
I don't know. Now?
Yeah.
Now it's
Friday?
good. Yes,
You can do it Friday? Let's go.
Yeah, I love The Fifth Element.
So now here we are, a whole podcast on one of the best movies ever. That aged really well with
It is.
the exception of a couple things, but
yeah, I mean, narratively, there's
It's
not a
tight.
lot. There's not a lot wrong with this.
it's really concise.
Yeah.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And it's practical. Like
Yeah.
the effects are so practical that they've
Aged really well.
really well.
Yeah.
And the budget that they used with the costuming and just all of it. I mean, it's just a really well done movie. I think earlier I said that every moment moves the plot forward.
Yep.
And that is so refreshing because we do so many of these slow burns these days, right? Where
Yeah. It ends up feeling very satisfying.
very satisfying movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
That you
you're
kind of don't want to be over
Yeah. But you're happy how it ended. Like,
because it ends well.
yeah.
Yeah, all the bad guys get blown away, and we get a new look at the Mangalores and find out they're really just an honorable society that want to,
That's in case you haven't watched the movie.
Wait, people have watched the movie that are listening,
Well,
right?
yeah, one would hope.
Not always. Oh, we
Wait, are
don't
we
know.
supposed to avoid spoilers?
No.
I'm so confused.
I'm just
No,
throwing
just
it
no,
out.
roll,
yeah.
roll with it.
Roll with it, yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's beautiful. Luc Besson, we've decided that's how you're going to pronounce it. It's a French film. It's
Yes.
not an American film. These are all the facts that I learned about it today. It was the highest, what's the word, budget?
Yeah.
It had the highest budget
It
of
cost
any
the most.
European film that had ever been made in 1997. At $90 million. It made $293 million worldwide, which is pretty great. I mean, that's how many times? 3 times?
Yeah.
3 times the budget. Bruce Willis they weren't gonna do like a heavy name actor. And Bruce Willis was like, I really like this. You don't have to pay me a lot. I'll do this movie. So they were able to really accomplish all the things they wanted to do. The music's incredible.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, if you
it
say
makes the movie.
If you say Fifth Element to anybody, they're going to think about Plava Laguna and her operatic
Yes.
diva show. And then I think Ruby Rod is classic.
Yeah, the best
highlight of
character
the
in the
movie.
movie.
The best character in the
Yeah,
movie,
yeah.
for sure.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
This whole movie is an aesthetic.
Yes.
The whole movie is a very consistent, very well done, very different aesthetic.
If we got this much thought, creativity, and just, I don't want to use the word nuance, but like that much.
Attention to detail.
Correct.
Yeah.
In
Yes.
every sci-fi or fantasy film, we would all be really happy people.
Right.
And
the-
things like Krull would never have, you know what I mean?
happened. Yeah.
This movie was trying to, like, Krull was trying to be this movie 10 years
And instead
earlier.
it was beautifully boring.
Krull?
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. And this movie is just from start to finish, everything makes sense. It's simple, but it's also not, you know. You were talking about something fancy earlier. What were you going to talk about?
Oh, split
It's
narrative.
a split narrative.
Yeah,
Yeah.
y'all go on about that for a minute.
That's because Bruce Willis and
Okay,
Gary
the,
Oldman's
the
characters
protagonist and antagonist
never meet,
never directly interact.
and they don't know each other exists.
Well, Zorg knows that Corbin Dallas exists because he sends the guy to get on the
but
plane.
he
and
doesn't
ask
know
him.
that Corbin Dallas is actively working against
Oh,
him.
sure. Okay.
Right. He only knows Corbin Dallas won the contest.
Oh, I
Yeah.
see. Sure.
And so tries to have him taken out for that reason.
Yeah,
He
so-
doesn't know that Corbin Dallas is some type of special ops military
Yeah.
badass
Who drives a taxi cab for funsies.
for him.
Yeah, because he's retired.
Right.
So he's
6
just
months retired.
6 months retired.
Yeah.
And the only one alive from his entire.
Unit.
Yeah.
Yeah, the apartment scene's one of my favorite. Like everything in this little efficiency apartment that he lives in, which is so cool, by the way.
Right.
That like
Once again, the attention to detail
yes.
Right.
on what it would actually be like to live in a like hyper capitalist efficiency apartment.
Yeah.
Right. It's what, probably 300 square feet, 200 square feet.
If that.
If
Maybe
that.
the size of the podcast.
It's about the size of the
lab.
pod lab. Yeah,
Yeah.
basically, with a window on one end and a door on the other.
Right.
And then everything either folds in or goes up and down.
Yeah, and he had to go that small because he also has to have a garage
Yeah.
next door
Yeah.
that
Yes.
immediately goes out into the 2000 and what year is it? 2000.
It's
263?
It's like 2263 or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
Luke Perry at the beginning too.
Yes, I know.
You know, and
I'll
he's
see his
got his
lights.
name's on the title card. Like his name is he
And
got
he has-
an and Luke Perry.
Yeah.
Right?
and he's-
Bilbo Baggins is in this.
Yeah.
And you've got like legitimate trained actors
Yeah.
in some of these like essential roles. And that is the best when you get these really incredible actors as Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg
Yes.
with,
yeah.
with his Ross Perot accent.
I love his accent.
And it's quotable. Like there's so many things. It's just great.
Yeah, we do Aziz lights a lot.
Oh, me too. In your
lot.
normal life?
Yeah.
Me
Oh,
too,
yeah.
all the
Yeah,
time.
absolutely.
And multipass.
Yes,
pretty
all the
much
time.
anytime I have a ticket, I'm like, multipass.
No, I got you on this. Almost every time I eat chicken.
Nice.
Chicken, good. Chicken, good.
I would love to have that
I am
cooker
a meat
where she just puts
popsicle.
the yes.
Yeah, attention to detail. So Jean-Paul Gaultier did all the costumes, and
Yeah.
that's one of the best parts. And it's funny, and I was going to say this earlier, but definitely save it for this. So many of the costumes are like not functional. Like they're not.
Absolutely not.
No.
Like how wide and round and egg-like a lot of the police uniforms are. Like I get what they were going for, but that's why they couldn't have like screen technology. They had to have buttons because everybody's gloves were so big. That would be the only way that you could operate any kind of technology.
Right. Or voice commands.
Yeah.
yeah.
It's always really cool to see futuristic versions from the past.
Yes. Yeah, where they were like, well, we're going to take what we have now and we're going to scale it up. Like, we're going to have a phone, but the phone's going to be real little. And it's got this tiny little screen on it.
Yep.
And then, like, when he goes to find Cornelius, he finds him in the book.
The
phone book.
The phone book.
The thing
phone
that
book.
doesn't
Yes.
exist anymore.
Yeah.
Right. That that
Yeah.
people don't have anymore. Right.
Yeah.
The cigarettes.
Yes, with the giant filters. Yeah.
They've become so concentrated.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or just like, that's how much tobacco you get.
Yeah.
Just
And there's
that.
still dials. There's still buttons and dials on everything.
Yeah.
You still have to like turn things and yeah. The technology we don't have. The makeup boxes. Are you kidding
the
me?
Coco Chanel
Yeah,
makeup
the
box.
Chanel makeup, eye makeup. He's like, I
Yeah.
got you a makeup box. That's just not any makeup box, bro. It made her eye makeup orange like her hair. Like, how does it know and where do I get one?
Yeah. I guess they had to make her a wig finally because they had to keep re-dyeing her hair.
And it probably destroyed her scalp.
Yeah, and her hair was like breaking off and
Yeah,
falling
because
off.
she had that bleach blonde root.
Yeah.
And then the orange. Not to mention all of the colors. Like, even the colors are so intentional. Corbin and her hair's shirt and the hair matching.
Yeah.
There's these pops of this orange, all these different places.
Yeah. And I was reading that Luke wanted it to be very bright because
Right.
a lot of contemporary sci-fi is very dark.
And like rainy, like
It
Blade
feels
Runner.
like
yeah, narrow corridors,
Yeah.
small spaces, dark, cramped,
2001.
confined.
It feels like a rainbow version of Blade Runner.
Yeah. He said he wanted it crazy bright.
Well,
like
and-
crazy upbeat bright.
The tone of the movie is like perfection.
Yes.
It is light, but also high stakes and emotional. And also, there is some vulnerability, but also it's funny as shit.
Yes. Yeah.
Like, it's this perfect tone the entire time.
yeah. Very
That goes
consistent.
really well with the, like, concise editing and all of the, like, when they dive into the garbage. Okay, so I'm going to start. Sorry. Can I get on my soapbox for a
yeah,
second?
no, go for it.
As we were watching these films that, like, meant a lot as children, and we are where we are when it comes to, like, feminism, and as women, when we think about the way that our relationships and with men work, seeing this movie that was written by a man, Lilu is the smartest person in the room. She's basically an omnipotent, all-knowing. Does omnipotent mean all-powerful or
All-powerful.
all-knowing?
All-powerful.
That's what I
All-powerful.
meant. And then omniscient means all-knowing.
Yeah.
Those are words.
Yep.
Okay.
All words.
All words. She's like the baddest bitch in the room. And he is looking at her and treating her like she's this fucking dumbass damsel in distress the entire time.
Yeah.
And he feels so disconnected to me about who she actually is. He's a Tamlin in a time where the Tamlin is what you wanted.
Yeah.
And I should preference what Tamlin means for this audience, but
That's okay.
he's the overprotective, I need to
he's the
save you
protector.
guy.
Yeah.
Right.
Versus the guy who like sees her, and it just like the part where the strong, muscly woman is there and he's like, ugh. I was just, come on, man, really? Like, and just knowing like, oh, that is the perspective and that's the gaze. That's the male
Yeah.
gaze that we grew
Yeah.
up with. So looking back and experiencing that movie the first time and not noticing any of that, and then looking back on it and being like, oh, wow, okay. So most of the male characters, like main male characters, are untraditionally not traditionally attractive, like weird looking, and I think that was intentional.
Yeah.
And then all of the women are supermodels, literally off the runway.
In thongs.
Literally off the runway.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
The gentleman who plays the Mandalorian, he's actually a supermodel. They were all models. So it's just this constant, like, you're supposed to be beautiful and you can be as ugly as you can and still be this, like, anyways.
Hot love interest guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it just, the amount of actual getting to know each other that they did for that end to be like, we're in love, is just like, it's an eye roll.
Yeah. It is, but
It's a great movie.
it's the 90s.
I know it is.
Yeah.
And I think it's just noticing those things now.
If you
Like
made
that-
it, if it was made now and it was like that, I'd be mad about it.
Right, but it's the 90s.
It's literally 25 years old
It's
now.
just what shaped how I felt about myself as a human being.
Yes. Yeah. But like,
No big deal.
No big
No big
deal.
deal.
Because I was 14 when it came out. So,
Right.
I still think it's a perfect movie.
yeah.
But I just would not have. I wouldn't. I notice now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the flight attendants.
Right.
Yeah. Why
Yeah,
why
maybe
the gap
some
under
of-
the boob?
They're like two.
Maybe some of those scenes did not directly advance the plot.
Maybe not. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like
Well, I mean, think about it. They kind of did. They shared a little bit more about who Ruby Rod was.
Right. It was
Yeah.
backing up his character.
Right.
Yeah.
And then every character kind of was a like vibrant, highlighted version of like a trope.
Yeah.
Right? The gruff hero-y guy.
Yeah.
He does that. And then Ruby Rod, this like crazy foil who's the priest, Bilbo,
Vito Cornelius.
Yeah, Cornelius.
Cornelius. Yeah. I love this movie.
I know, it's really great. They
Yeah.
were talking about how the bandage outfit, the bandage costume
Yes,
was
her
supposed to
thermal
be
bandages.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that was it was supposed to be like a hospital gown. Like what would a hospital gown look like in the future?
Would it? Would it?
I guess so.
It's like a fan servicey
if
version of
She's real lucky that she's an A cup.
futuristic. Yeah.
Very lucky.
Real lucky. 'Cause
Yeah.
otherwise those would not have stayed.
No, they would have just been tighter and uncomfortable, and she'd have had top cleavage and bottom cleavage.
Yep.
Yeah.
But she almost does somehow with
True.
what she's working with. Yeah.
I wonder how long it took to make that movie.
I don't know.
And it got a lot of critics hated on it, which is really weird to me.
Because it's artsy.
Maybe.
It's not like Event Horizon. Oh, I guess Event Horizon wasn't universally loved either, but it's
Wait,
more
is that the space movie where they put the person in space and
Space horror.
it's space horror.
and they jettison him and he freezes and
Oh, they do,
explodes?
yeah.
I can't watch it because of that scene. Like that's the only part of that movie I remember.
It's a really scary movie.
Yeah, I remember it being scary.
Yeah, but a lot of times critics don't like this tone in a movie. This like irreverent tone, they don't love.
Oh, and it's meta too. When he's like, "I know that music. Let's change that tone," or let's, you know what I mean? What does he say at the end? Do you remember that part?
When Zorg, he sets the timer for the bomb.
Oh, okay.
And then a lady screams, and he says, "Oh, I know this music,"
Yeah.
because the music changes.
Yeah.
And then the lady screams.
Yeah.
And then
He's
goes
like,
back to
"Let's
his ship.
change this," and I was like, "That's funny. That's funny."
Yeah. I like the part where the guy's supposed to give him something to help. Give Bruce Willis's character, the deaf guy. He's like, "Throw me that." And he rolls him the pool balls and they just like thumbs up at each other.
Yeah.
Every point in this movie where you think it's going to go one way, they give you this little bit of like, we went a little bit different. You're
Yeah.
still going to figure it out. We're still going to get out of it, but it's not going to go quite the way you think.
The priest, poor guy, when he's trying to, he finds his way on the spaceship,
Yeah.
not plane.
No.
And I guess the bottom of the plane / where he gets into the wires is also environmentally controlled.
Yeah,
He
ventilation.
ended up in the ventilation system.
Yeah.
Okay. So
I don't know how he got to the
I
ventilation
don't
system
know.
from the landing gear, but
Can
Yeah.
we get some heat over here, man? Is another one that gets quoted a lot in our house. Can I get some heat over here, man?
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
and while he's handling like
Aziz,
nuclear fuel with a
light.
cigarette.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nuclear fuel.
Yes.
Yeah, I like all the portrayals of all this like really advanced technology, like really dangerously powerful stuff. You know, like a nuclear fuel tank and the just casualness that the characters deal with it because this is their everyday.
Yeah. It's like
Whereas-
sticking the hose in a fuel tank.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
like from our perspective, it's like, wow, there's flying cars, and everybody's like,
Yeah,
I have to drive.
I was thinking about
Flying cruise ships.
yeah,
Cruise ship spaceships.
on like Beach Planet.
Floston.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about Ruby Rod and how he's a radio personality.
He's a podcaster.
And I was like, radio is not so much like, it didn't go the way they thought it was going to
Yeah.
go. But I was like, if you think of him as a podcaster.
Yeah. But that people appointment listen to.
Yeah.
Like people still tune in
Yeah.
rather than it being on demand.
Right.
Like it's only live streamed.
Right.
No one has the option
Yeah.
of
He's like a Twitch streamer.
Yeah.
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 Without
And it works
cameras.
Without cameras.
Yeah.
And if you think about it that way, like, okay, well, then he doesn't feel so dated. That
Yeah.
character did. I don't know. That character doesn't feel so dated.
Yeah. For sure.
Chris Tucker did an amazing job.
It's the best character he's ever played.
Yeah.
At least for me.
He's not even in that much of the movie. I mean, he's
No.
in
But
like,
he's so memorable.
the last third,
Yeah.
but he's so memorable that you're like, as soon as he comes on screen, you're like, oh yeah, when he does the slide in, the whole hallway
Yeah.
interview scene is
Yeah.
my favorite.
He's so he's so good at it, and I wonder how much of it is improvisation.
It could, I mean, that's fine. That's what makes it good.
I know.
Yeah.
And I saw that Jamie Foxx and Chris Tucker were both up for it, but Jamie Foxx was too bulky, and the director only wanted they wanted that gender fluid, like that Prince look, that Prince
Yeah.
appeal.
Yes.
Where they were very like feminine, but that women were still like like all he had
Like
to do was breathe.
androgynous.
Yeah,
Yes,
breathe in
yeah.
their ear, and they're gonna like
Right.
pass
Like his
out.
charisma dominates
Riz.
the space
That's what,
so much.
That's what the kids call it these days.
Oh,
His
yes.
Riz.
His Riz.
Yes, the Riz.
I have heard that.
Mm-hmm.
Luc Besson worked with a comic book director or comic book writer
That makes sense.
to create the aesthetic. And it's Jean-Claude Mézières.
Mézières? Yeah.
Mézières. And he's
Yeah.
the guy who did the Valerian comics.
Ah.
That,
'Cause he-
that sound later
that-
adapted.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Oh, did he? Did
Yeah.
he do Valeria?
He did Valerian and the...
That one did not
No.
work the same way this one did.
Well,
No, I would say
No.
Luc Besson is pretty hit and miss.
He also did all the Taken movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Taken 1, 2, and 3.
That's where I got the term special set of skills.
Yeah.
That I don't know if you know that.
I knew that.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
we use that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Special set of skills.
Yeah.
Because Taken is the movie where nothing bad happens and you fucking love it.
Yeah.
Everything the main character does, there's no challenge.
No.
And it was so novel.
And it's fine.
And
you're
it's-
like,
and you're
okay,
like, hell
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. This is good.
I will love a story like that. Give me some no stakes. I mean, high stakes, but everything you want to do goes right.
Watching somebody do something extremely competently is very satisfying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
It's a
it
similar
is.
character to the Bruce Willis character.
That's why I like
Yeah, that's
hanging out
very
with Rachel
true.
so much.
Yeah, I bet.
Because there's the part where they go to the control room and they're all like freaking out because the Mangalores are in the control room. And Bruce Willis does the like, well, okay, 7 on the left, 5 on the right. And he just shoots and then he goes back and he's like, okay, 2 on the left, 4 on the right.
Right.
And then the guy holds
Kind
the
of like
gun up.
Cassian.
A little bit. And the guy holds the gun up and he's like, we're ready to negotiate. And he just shoots him and he's like, that's the leader right there.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. I like the Mangalores too. I feel so sad for them. My
Yeah.
heart goes to them for some reason.
Yeah.
They were just trying to like be real people, real Mangalores.
Well,
Yeah.
and they were, Zorg makes a comment about how they were displaced by the government and scattered to the winds.
Yeah, like the Mandalorians.
Yeah. And they're just trying to get their like
They
They're-
just need weapons so that they can like do
Fight
what they want to
back.
do, fight
Yeah.
back. And then when at the end when he's like for the honor,
Right,
I'm like,
which
yeah.
earlier Zorg is like, honor's killed more people than it's ever saved.
Yeah.
And then at the very end, the bomb that blows him up
Was
he's
for
like-
honor.
was for honor.
Yep.
That's a nice tie-in.
The
Yeah.
cherry scene where he chokes on the cherry and he almost dies.
Yes.
And it's like, I mean, there is a really fair argument. The priest is so black and white, good versus evil. This is not just capitalist monster evil guy. This is literally
Evil.
all life destroyer. But then the argument that in the name of good, so much bad has to happen. Like, people die in the name of good all the time.
Yeah.
And I think that's where Zorg was coming from. He's like, yeah, but I'm a monster, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to make a lot of money.
I make people better because they've got to fight me.
Yeah.
You got to have a villain.
Yeah.
I'll be the villain.
I love how, like, circular things are in it, where he's like just little details, like the cab company being owned by Zorg. So
Yes.
him
Right, and
firing,
so-
him
when he fires
a
the
million people,
Yeah.
Corbin gets included
Right.
in that.
and just things just like
Yeah.
loop around.
Everything.
And
is,
that's part of the split narrative style
Okay.
structure is
Yeah.
they each have a parallel plot, and the things that each of them are doing are affecting the other, but they're not necessarily aware of who's the instigator of
Right.
Yeah.
that thing that they experienced.
And
Yeah.
I really like the exposition scenes where we flip back and forth between the two
Yes.
perspectives, and it's pushing both perspectives forward and giving us the information all at the same time.
Yes.
Like when she's talking about
but
the
it's
stones.
like building this tension
Yes.
too.
And like to finish Zorg's sentence, Lilu answers it.
Right.
And then Lilu says something, Zorg answers it, and we're actually hopping back and forth. So we're getting both perspectives at the same time.
Yeah, I know. It's really great.
So we don't waste time seeing both. We get both.
And
you-
then like when he's getting ready to open the case and she's telling a story about the Mondoshuman's whole plan, and then he's like, yeah, this is it. And then he's getting ready to open it, and then we switch back to Lilu, and she just busts out laughing
yeah.
because they tricked him because the stones went on a different route, and then now he's disappointed because the stones weren't in there.
Yeah.
Maniacally. Insanely disappointed. Yep. Monteshuan.
Montechuan?
It's not
they-
pronounced the way it's spelled.
No, because
Yeah.
in the subtitles it's SHA.
Yeah.
But it's Montechuan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a problem with them. I don't like how advanced they are, but how wobbly and slow.
I feel like it's
Is it a suit? Is it a suit?
It could be a suit.
I feel like it's like a mask, or like they're hiding themselves from any other like life that they interact with because they don't want, I don't know, almost like protecting information about themselves.
Sure.
Well,
So-
I mean, so Lilu is a Montechuan.
Right. But she looks human.
But when they rebuild her, she looks like Lilu. And they rebuild her from the cell. So they use her DNA to reconstruct her.
Well, is the cell just is in a suit?
Yeah, it's in that hand.
Yeah, there's-
because it's
So
the hand
they're-
holding the handle of the case.
Why do they have those face things that look like the scary things from the Dark Crystal?
I don't, maybe
Skeksis.
Yeah.
It's just
They look like
They do
a
look like
camera
Skeksis.
they look like
apparatus.
steampunk Skeksis.
Yeah.
No, thank
But-
you. Aziz, light.
You could just put them on wheels.
Yeah, when they're just
Well,
like,
they're not
why don't they
even-
just
the
float?
door shutting.
They're not even in the movie. I mean, they're not in the movie. I mean, they're in the movie at the very
I
beginning.
know, but that always just confused me a little bit because they find the glove, but it's a gauntlet, like it's a glove,
Yeah.
right? So what is there cellular matter in
There's
there? And
there's
Yeah.
a forearm and hand inside of this arm piece.
yes, and that is what they built.
They build her back up with.
But she was in the sarcophagus thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or was that just a statue representation of the fifth element?
No, that was the fifth element. Don't be making up things.
I don't know. We don't say it's because
Yeah,
we
they
take
don't
the
explain
stones
it.
and then we take
But they
the
could
thing.
have taken
Maybe
it
any
into,
Mondoshuan could be the fifth element.
Maybe. Yeah, but also that was like 300 years difference in time.
Yeah.
So it doesn't, the fifth element might not have still been in the 1917 thing.
Or she could have come alive,
Yeah.
like when she was needed or whatever.
Right.
Yeah. I'm not sure because we don't talk about that. We also don't see the Mondochuans again. I mean, we hear about them. They're bringing them. They get blown up. And then they're like, okay, we've contacted them and they're going to help us. We just have to get the stones.
Well, we do see them in the future, but then they get blown up really fast.
right.
So she could have been in one of those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she
Yeah.
was supposed to be on that ship.
Right.
So they were
yeah.
transporting the fifth element in one ship and the other 4 stones in another ship. And they blew up the ship with the fifth element on
Right.
it.
But later when they're like after Flossed in Paradise, we have like a throwaway line about like, we've talked to the Mondachewans.
Oh, yeah.
They're going to help us. We just have to get the stones. But we never see them. Like we don't see what help they provide unless they're going to come and tow the new moon away so that it doesn't kill all life in
Yeah.
like
so
Earth's
there's
oceans.
not. So that the entire planet doesn't just completely and
Yeah. Maybe we
everybody
could-
would
They'll just like
fuck up
slow
everything.
walk
Yeah.
that away. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll have to get rid of it. I'm sure they have space travel. Like they can have space tanks that can pull it away.
I mean, there's a couple holes. Like, why did the Mondachewans have to come right then and take the fifth element? They could have waited till like night when everybody went home. And they could have
Right.
just gone in and got it and left. They didn't need to come and kill everybody.
Well, I felt like they came at that time because that guy was deciphering their secrets.
Yeah, but they could have just waited till he went to bed.
No, he might have reported.
I mean,
might have
what would
passed
it
on the
matter if there was?
Technology was really big on spreading information back then.
I mean,
Those papers could have been printed
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I
and
mean,
dispersed.
he couldn't get in there. He didn't have the key, which the key is just like a 4 thing. But
Right. We don't know how much technology was hidden in the rocks.
he was just going to end up like Daniel from Stargate, where he's like, aliens put this
Stargate,
writing
the
on
movie.
there.
I love that. Have y'all done that yet?
We just watched it.
It's a good movie.
So we're gonna-
It's
but-
that's another really freaking good sci-fi movie that is
Yeah.
no wasted space.
No.
I think it just dawned on me. Movies like this feel so different than the way that we typically absorb content these days because I spend so much time watching hours and hours and hours of stories.
Yeah.
Like right now I'm watching Dark, which is it's literally 3 seasons. 13 times 3, what is that? 39?
39.
39 hours for us one story. And so to see this like little tiny short story,
Yeah, one and done. Yeah.
it's beautiful.
And they were like, well, maybe we're going to make a sequel. And I don't want a sequel.
No, they aren't going to make a sequel.
No, I don't want a sequel.
No, don't mess it up. Unless
Don't touch
it's as
it.
good as Top Gun Maverick.
Is it going to be, though?
Probably not.
Probably not. I
Did
don't know
you
that
see
you
Top
could
Gun
recapture
Maverick?
this magic.
No, yeah.
There's like a certain attitude in the 90s that, misogyny aside, this like ambitious, upbeat, irreverent, quirky 90s energy that we can't replicate now. Like we just did Waterworld.
We're too cynical.
And if you think about the fucking audacity of Waterworld, like we are going to film an entire movie in the middle of the ocean.
Yeah, wasn't that the most expensive movie ever made?
At the time, yeah. Titanic actually cost more than it.
Yeah, but Titanic is also the best movie of all time.
I mean, I like Waterworld, but just think about the
Of course you do.
just think about the
Objectively bad.
it's fine, you can hate it. I still love it.
I don't hate it. I think it's a great movie. It's a
a
really
great
fun
movie.
movie. I love Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me started on Dances with Wolves.
Right, but you just think about the
seen that
ambition of
movie
these
so many
movies.
times.
Sumani Tutanka Uwachi.
That was one
Okay.
of my mom's favorite movies.
Okay. I say that to my sister sometimes. I'm like, Sumani Tutanka Uwachi. I don't even remember what it means. But I know that
You just memorized
we
the-
used to say
the
it
line.
constantly as little kids. We would run around saying it because for some reason Last of the Mohicans and Dances with Wolves were always on TV at our house.
Yeah.
No, actually it was the soundtracks. Remember when you had your 6-disc players and your
Yeah.
parents would just listen to music on like Saturday and Sundays?
I had the Fifth Element soundtrack.
Oh, so good.
I bought the Fifth Element soundtrack specifically for that song that plays when he's in the taxi car chase. So you know the taxi car chase?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not on the soundtrack.
That sucks.
That
Wait,
song
did it have two
specifically.
soundtracks? Like,
No, I
like
don't
the
think so.
score and then the soundtrack?
No, because there's no like songs. I mean, there's
Yeah.
the sound. There's just the score.
The score is awesome. It's so good.
Like the taxi chase scene is so good. Like when they're running away and like they hit the guys when they're at McDonald's.
Yeah.
And then they end up, he's like, I think we got past it. I think we're fine. And then they go past, like, in the camera whips to the side, and there's like 5 police cars just waiting right there. And then they shoot him, and he's like, okay, you want to play it soft? We'll play it soft. You want to play it hard? We'll play it hard.
As he's strapping himself
he
in.
puts his seatbelt on,
And
and
she's
like Lilu is like leaning on the glass, like, help me. And then he does the whole like straight down thing with, I just love the
Right.
the taxi car chase.
Once we
Some
get
of my
into the
favorite
fog, we'll be
scenes.
fine. If we make it to the fog.
Yeah. But that song is not on the soundtrack, and I, as a child, was
Really
horrified.
disappointed.
Yeah.
Yeah, scores to movies used to be like the soundtracks of our lives. I remember when the Gladiator movie came out.
Oh,
Oh,
it was
man.
so beautiful.
it was so good.
And you would just want it on while you were doing things.
yes.
Last of the Mohicans.
Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe.
Yes.
Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe has one of the best movie scores
Of all time.
of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever thought to myself recently, dang, I want to get that score and listen to it. Like from
Yeah.
a recent movie.
No. I mean,
Some of the songs on The Witcher.
Yeah, they were pretty
Instrumental
good.
stuff,
Yeah,
yeah.
some of the TV stuff, but like a movie
oh, that's
score.
how you say Dances with Wolves. That was his
Oh.
name.
Oh, okay. That was
Yeah.
his name.
That was his
in the movie.
name
Okay.
in the
Okay.
movie. Shumani Tutanka Owachi.
Okay,
And that's why we would run around the house saying it.
nice.
Sorry.
Talk about 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. But anyway, there's just this like, not magic, I don't want to, but it's just like this sincere ambition that you just don't see in movies now, because everything has to have that little bit of like tongue in cheek that. So this movie's, I'm trying to figure out, this movie's funny in like an irreverent comedic way, but like Thor Love and Thunder is like, let's make fun of our source material because we don't want to get too serious. People might like, then if people don't like it, we'll have tried to be serious and people don't like it. Instead, we can be like, oh, we're all laughing together. It's called
Yeah.
like iranoia. It's actually like a thing. And it's where you like couch everything in humor.
It like
Yeah,
sarcastic.
it's like the Marvel,
like Well, this is just like a
Everybody, like-
millennial Gen Z.
Oh, but I'm
no,
just-
and I
cultural
get that,
thing.
but the MCU took
Oh,
it
yeah.
and made it to the point where they're stuck now.
Yeah.
Like,
Right.
people are tired of it. I don't
Yeah.
want to see every movie. Every movie doesn't need to be tongue in cheek. It doesn't need
Yes.
to be. Not every character is Tony Stark. Like you can make different tones.
Yeah.
And they're gonna flail. They're flailing. It's fine. Sorry.
Yeah. It's okay. See, like that was iranoia. It's fine.
Oh, yeah. Is that
It's
what that
fine.
is?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's almost like
You're null and voiding yourself?
or
You're leaving yourself an out.
you're retroactively.
So if someone doesn't agree with you, you can be like, well, it's just a joke.
Yeah, you're
It's okay,
retconning
it's just a joke.
your opinion on the
I
matter
see.
after you see how somebody reacts to it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can say something like, "Oh, I loved that movie," and if you're like, "Oh, that was such a horrible movie," I can be like, "Oh, I was just messing with you.
I like loved that movie.
I loved it."
That way you
like
don't leave
anybody
yourself.
could love that movie.
You don't end
Why
up
would
leaving
someone
yourself
say that?
open for
That's so mean.
criticism
I see what you're saying.
Because-
I would never.
because of like comment culture. If you
it's
went
a
on
way
like
to avoid
Facebook
being
and said I
Yeah.
love that
vulnerable
movie,
with people.
and somebody brought that Facebook attitude to your comment section,
Yeah, that's why you don't do Facebook anymore.
no. So I mean, it's like a thing. It's like a
It's a
problem.
thing, yeah.
Where
Yeah.
people are like, you can't be vulnerable. You can't be vulnerable in that way because you're like, literally
Because
everyone
there's
feels.
strangers on the internet that will like take you down.
Because comment culture is literally like everyone has the right to
Yeah.
comment on your feelings about the thing.
Yeah.
And so you have to leave yourself an out. And we don't have that in the 90s. You have the phone book.
yeah, you had the phone book.
Yeah, you have like, I'm going to have a telephone. Like his telephone in the hotel at Floston Paradise is like a rotary telephone, which just has an antenna on
Yeah.
it when he picks it up. The only person who interacts with computers at all is Lilu and the little priest guy.
Right.
The
and
one
the
with
military
cone head.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the individuals operating
Yeah.
a personal computer.
Yeah, nobody's carrying around a cell phone of any kind. When they are not near a phone, they are out of communication. Nobody
Yeah.
is carrying around a communication
Or a
device
pocket
at all.
computer.
Or a pocket computer. Because the idea of being in constant contact was like, what do you mean?
It hadn't been established yet.
Yeah. I had a pager in 97.
I had one
no.
that played for Elise.
That's funny.
Star Trek had communicators.
Yeah, Star Trek did. Yeah. But I mean, I'm just like, in this movie, you're thinking
Right.
like, oh, if you make this movie now and you envision the future 300 years from now,
Right, you're going to
technology you're
have
making looks
some
entirely different.
novel version of smartphone.
I want to know
Yeah.
how his coffee maker works because it just magnets to the wall.
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
it's
and
really cool.
He pours the
The,
old
the
coffee back.
into,
I think the magnet's the heater.
or the gun shelf that just comes from
Comes
the
out of the
ceiling.
ceiling,
Yeah.
And he just throws the gun in there.
Yeah, like that.
'Cause
He gets
mugged.
robbed all the time.
Yeah,
and
that-
he calls it the 5,000s. It's
Yeah.
nice to see you down here in the 5,000s.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's on like the projects or whatever.
Well,
Yeah, he's too low. I think
Yeah.
they're too low.
Yeah. Well, I love that guy's another one of my favorite characters with the hat.
Yeah.
Because he has the hat to trick the camera or like trick the eye thing. And then he's like, give me the kiss.
That's a nice hat.
I love how he tricks him. He's like, it's not loaded. He's like, what? He's like, you got to push the little, there's a little
Yellow
button.
button.
Yeah. You can definitely tell. Just to go back to what you're saying earlier, the comic book guy, you can tell that this movie was really storyboarded.
Yeah.
Because every scene, every frame is very beautiful to look at.
Right.
Very well thought out. Oh, another thing is when he recorded the woman's voice and played it,
And
I'm
played
like,
it.
ew, creeper.
Yeah.
That you can't do that. Or the way that he treated the mom. Like, yeah, that's fine. Like,
Yeah.
moms are just annoying women. I was like, anyways, I think that says a lot about where we are now, though. I think we get enough female gaze
Yeah.
that it feels foreign to me to see that sort of, but I kind of long for it a little bit. Like, you miss it a little bit. The just like, that's how it is. That's
Yeah.
how it works. And this is what, and maybe that's the shift. Maybe that's where some of the shift is coming from, you know? Is that the same people aren't making all of the content anymore.
Yeah. And some of the reasons this is so planned out, so well put together, so like bam, 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 might be because he had more creative control outside of Hollywood. Because this isn't made in Hollywood.
No.
Right.
And it feels like that. It
really feels like there were no old man executives coming in and being like, we need more tits because this isn't going to sell anything.
Right. This needs to look
she's
more
got
mainstream.
a small boobs,
Yeah.
which is great. Thank you. Yeah, awesome. You know, like, yeah,
Yeah. So that's, I think, why it feels like one director was allowed to be in control. And like, even when it was going over budget, he would not allow anybody on set to come inspect anything. And he wouldn't show them any footage. He was like, nope, just got to trust me.
yeah. It's a great movie.
Yeah.
I hope he's proud of it.
I hope so. It's good. The Valerian comic guy who worked on it isn't credited.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's like the one, like,
Well,
they worked really
Retro
hard
credit.
together. Because I guess Valerian is the, like, inspiration for Star Wars, too. It's a really old comic.
Oh,
I thought Dune was. That's why there's so much spice everywhere.
Oh. I'm pretty sure George Lucas was like,
He probably read it all. He did it all.
cherry picked his favorites.
His favorite stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, that's what everybody does. That's stories. That's tropes.
Mm-hmm.
It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Yeah.
We've got
Sorry.
more to say about this movie.
You what?
So we've got more to say about this movie.
Oh, yeah, for
Vin
sure.
Diesel's in this
Oh,
movie.
yeah. I didn't know that.
Vin
surprise
Diesel?
Vin Diesel.
Yeah.
Vin Diesel's the voice of Finger.
That is so
His
funny.
the cab boss.
Oh, I
cab
like
boss.
Fog.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hi, I'm Pug. I'm security.
Tall. I mean,
I imagine her character had like a psychic presence
she did.
Yeah.
that was intimidating.
Yeah. For
Yeah,
sure.
I love that character.
Oh,
I
she's
love
the best.
Yes, Plava Laguna.
She's so mysterious.
Yeah.
It's nice that we don't know more about her.
Yeah.
She just seems like all-knowing, like you said. Like she can, yeah, she was,
Right. She like leans over toward her like
yeah, like Coneheads.
her
Yeah,
assistant, whatever, and
The,
like passes a message, but she doesn't say anything out loud.
right. And I love that fight scene. The fight scene that Mila Jovovich
I like
gets
the
to
music
do.
from that one.
Yeah,
that music in that
that's
one's really
another one
good.
where we're doing the like flip,
and
flip,
that's
flip.
that's like another like there's a psychic connection with Plava Laguna and the Fifth Element because her music is mirroring what Lilu is doing.
Yeah,
When she's just sitting there calm, the music's just smooth and serene, and then she's like, "Oh shit, they're breaking in."
well, I don't know if
Starts
it's the
to pick
psychic
up.
connection or if it's just like well done, like well orchestrated. Yeah, and it's
Well, there's some type of deeper connection
yeah,
with like this character is tied in with reality
yes,
and what needs to happen
yeah.
to save the universe.
I know
kind of thing.
she's so cool. And then
Yeah.
she has the stones in her the whole time. The stones are in me.
What does that mean? What does that mean? The Stones. Yeah. I just looked up the actress that played her, May Win, one name. Mm-hmm. I had not heard of her.
That was, you're right, Luc Besson's
Wife.
wife. Yeah, and she only did it because the actress they'd hired didn't show up.
Wow.
Oh,
And so they were like,
interesting.
you want it? She was like, I guess. But she's not singing. She's dubbed. She's obviously
Yeah,
by, like a
real
professional soprano.
opera
Yeah.
lady, yeah. And he didn't expect her to be able to sing all the notes.
Yeah. And she actually sings them in isolation, and then they orchestrated them together.
Oh, that makes sense. So it sounds kind of synthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she's singing it, but she's singing like the note, then sing the note because it's not the range.
So they
it's
can-
the
that's how-
speed with which they change.
So that's how she goes so quickly.
yeah.
But then
Right.
other people have been able to sing it successfully.
After years of practicing,
as
and
opposed to
training
just
their
like
voice to
showing
do
up
that.
and giving this lady the score and being like,
Do
can
this.
you sing this next week? She's like, well, I mean, kind of.
So it is in fact something that is impossible for a human voice to sing.
it was intended to be a composition that would be
Unsingable.
impossible for human vocal cords to reproduce, but somebody took that as a challenge
Right.
and thought, I'm going to dedicate a lot of energy and effort and time and potential damage to my voice
Yeah.
to prove this asshole wrong.
It's such a breakout moment in the movie, though, because she starts out with like a traditional like opera thing that she's doing. And then all of a sudden it's like,
Beyonce.
yeah.
Yeah, she's a Beyonce of the universe.
And she's even dancing.
Yeah, she goes like this.
Yeah.
There's probably not a lot
Also-
of movement.
Sorry, wow. I needed an oil. Another time where the costume got in her way from actually moving efficiently.
Yeah.
It was just
Well, she's probably on lifts.
she is, and she
Yeah.
wobbles out just like the Montechuans at the beginning,
Look, she's a
wobbling
singer.
around.
She's not a dancer. It's fine.
It's just, yeah. The costumes were stunning.
It was style over like functionality.
It was, and it was
Yeah.
beautiful. But it was a lot of, you know what test? I don't think this movie passes the test where, what is the test
The
called?
Bechdel test?
Yeah.
The Bechdel test.
Yeah.
Very few things do.
Which we were talking
Things
about
do
it a
now,
bit.
though, right?
It's hard. It's actually hard to pass the Bechdel test because it's like if you have side characters and they're having a conversation, they're often talking about the main character. And a lot of times the
For the
main character
purposes
is
of
male.
advancing the plot.
Just because
But isn't the Bechdel test just two women?
are there two women? Do
Having
they
a conversation.
interact? And do they talk about something other than a male character?
Right.
Yeah. So a lot of times if you have two women, they're the side character. I mean, they're usually talking about like the main character, and more often than not now, the main character is still male. And so if they're talking, they're usually advancing the plot. And so advancing the plot requires you to talk about the main character or something revolving around the main character.
Even if they're like a good female representation as characters just for the like time spent filming them having a conversation. That scene still needs to contribute to the plot.
Right.
Yeah.
And very
I mean,
likely the plot involves a male
So Lilu
character.
talks to that one girl. That one girl, I guess they don't really have a conversation. She just like talks to that plaque on the wall, and Lilu's around the corner.
Oh, right.
And it's about the stones.
But
and not
don't
Bruce
they
Willis.
have to have, it doesn't have to be for a certain amount of time.
Well, they just have to have a conversation. It's not even a conversation. She just walks over and is
Yeah,
like, the
passes
diva
information.
welcomes you. We'll talk after the show. Yeah. So I guess if the diva had made it off the stage, it would have worked. Because we would have had two female characters who have an interaction and they talk about something other than the male character. Yeah. Because at that point, the diva doesn't even know Bruce Willis exists. Because Bruce Willis is completely like peripheral in all of this. This is Lilu's quest.
Yeah.
And he ends up doing a lot of it.
Yeah.
Just because he's in proximity to Lilu.
Trying to protect her. Yeah.
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 Yeah. He's just
'Cause
like,
he fell in
Well,
love with her
he
immediately.
basically has this. He's been
love at
assigned
first sight.
basically the same task, and he never actually sees Lilu in action,
No, he doesn't.
right? And
He's just told about her.
I don't.
yeah.
She doesn't see him.
And the part he gets out of that
Doing
is she's
much.
perfect. And he's like, yeah, great skin, long legs. Perfect. That's his takeaway. But she does tell him, like, I protect you. So she tries.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm supreme being. I will protect you.
Now you
Yeah.
go to sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I would love that in an airplane. It's like, here's your cubby, sleep the entire time. And we'll pull you out when we get there. Yeah. Although
Yeah, that would be incredible. I wonder how long that journey actually
it
is.
It
says
said
4
4
hours.
Oh, I thought it was like days.
No, they have some
Why
type
would
of
you go to
faster
s-
than light travel.
Why would you go to sleep?
To make it as short
For
as possible.
4 hours.
Probably so they won't be bothered by the number of people on the plane.
Yeah.
It's probably packed tight.
Yeah.
Yeah. For space travel, I imagine.
Yeah.
As efficient as possible.
Yeah. I love that scene too with the takeoff and Ruby Rod all
Yeah.
at the same time. They're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, it's
Assume the
condensed. There's so
position.
much happening at one time.
yeah.
Very much like,
It's like Ruby Rod's radio program where he's
Yeah.
just like bam, bam, bam. Like when he walks by and he's signing, but he just takes the brush and
Yeah.
brushes it. And then I love that. That hallway scene, he had to be in character.
I wonder how
on
many
it.
times they did it.
I don't know, but it's well done
Yeah.
because the pace of it feels great. And then when they stop to wait for Corbin to say something, and everything stops. The music stops.
he's like-
the score
It's
stops.
such an effective contrast.
Yeah. And there's
to-
always the perfect pause, like the perfect amount of just like silence. And then he's like, hi. And then it goes up to the next
Wait,
part.
what does he say when they're in the room or in the opera room? He goes,
Thrilled.
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 Yeah. He's like, what's the word of the day?
Right,
He's
which
like, thrilled.
he wants him to talk more, but then he prompts him with, "What's the word of the day?" Thrilled.
Well, maybe he's trying to like
Okay.
shame him into talking more. I don't know.
Yeah,
the
like that's
show I
gonna
ever
work.
did.
So did Ruby Rod transmit the concert?
Yeah, and also like everything that happened because that's how the president was getting his information by
What's the
listening
best
to Ruby
show he's
Rod.
ever done?
Yeah,
I wonder if he had to get permission to broadcast during the concert.
I think he does whatever he wants.
Probably.
because
Yeah.
he's like universal. Well, they have aliens. People like his mom lives on the moon. Like, yeah,
I mean, Plava Laguna's an alien. The
Yeah.
Mandalores are aliens.
yeah,
Yeah, they have aliens. There's just not any
Lilu's
alien.
an alien.
yeah. She is.
He's a meat popsicle, which I want to know. Is he? Because he tells that to the cops. And they, like the guy.
They are looking for him. That part is a little bit like, how does he know that's not going to make things worse?
Right, because the guy next door just makes a crack. I mean, he does the like, screw you, whatever.
Right.
But that gets him shot and captured. Whereas, like, they say, sir, do you identify as human? And he goes, negative. I am a meat popsicle. And they're just like, cool. And like, hang on, he mocked the cops right now.
Yeah.
And in this society, it's a militaristic society. Like when that one guy bangs on the glass and the like bars come down and like a gun, like guns aim at him and they're like, put your hands on the yellow circle. Like this is a police action. So they should all have a healthy fear of like
Talking
disrupting
back,
the authorities. Yeah. And instead he's like, negative, I am a meat popsicle. And so is that a thing?
I don't
like,
know.
Is he actually a meat popsicle? Is that like he's a clone or something? Is it like a colloquial or like a slang term for something not
possible.
human?
Or is he familiar with how the like law enforcement works, and he knows that he's complying with the right things, like standing in place with his hands on the yellow circles, and
He knows he can get away with
he
that.
knows he
They
can
can't
get
do
away
anything.
with like one mocking statement because
Yeah.
they'll be like,
If they're in a rush.
right, and if it's important, they'll be like, no, please answer the question.
It just feels out of character for somebody who otherwise is trying to be left alone. Like trying to go completely unbothered, just
Yeah.
drive his taxi, be retired, have Thai food from James Hong outside his window in this
That's
amazing
a person,
Thai
right?
boat. That's James Hong.
Yeah. What
He's
else
that
is
guy.
he in?
He's in like everything.
Yes.
Doesn't he have
Yes.
one,
Big
isn't he
Trouble in
one
Little
of the
China.
Yeah, he's
like
like very
most
famous,
credited
right?
actors?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what
Pretty
I
much and he's in Everything Everywhere All at Once. He's the grandfather.
He's the dad.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean he's the grandfather.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay,
Yeah.
he is in everything.
Yeah.
And
He's Poe's dad in Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah.
yeah. Well, that's like one of the best parts. Like
Yes.
that whole I want to
You're
move-
fired.
Yeah, well, I want to go to the future just so that food can come to my window
And they cook it for you
in front
outside
of you.
your window.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like
In a like culturally specific vehicle,
Yes.
like your food truck.
he pulls up like a
like
he pulls
yeah,
up
it's
an
like a
anchor.
hibachi house call.
yeah,
That would be
yeah,
so
or like
great.
a hot dog would come to you,
Yeah.
or like something shaped
And
like
the Oscar Mayer wiener.
yes, exactly,
Yeah.
but a ship that floats.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
I love
really
it. And
cool.
yes, when he's like pulling up the anchor and singing as
Yeah.
the boat's pulling
Just
away.
so go lucky, so happy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, oh, that's really, really cool. I would love that. Just to be like, oh man, I think I'm going to have James Hong come and talk to me. Grandfathers say, not rain every day.
yeah.
He's like, could be good news. And he opens
Which is
it.
a nice twist.
I'll bet you your lunch. He's like, well, at least I got a free lunch. And he's like, I like that. Find the
Yeah.
good in everything.
Yeah. My thought went away. Dang, I'm tired.
I
Sorry.
can probably speak this movie line for line. So
I know. I'm like, should we just go through it? What's another movie that you could do that for?
I could have done that for Fellowship of the Ring a long time ago. I don't think I could do it now. I
Have
know
you
the
seen
entire Muppet Christmas Carol.
I don't like the Muppets. Isn't that weird?
I like Muppet Christmas Carol.
Did you know that have you seen the footage of Mary and Pippin talking about how the actors, they have
Yeah.
a podcast and they're talking about how with the ratings of the movie, there could be one F word in the
Yeah.
movie. And so
where
they're
could
talking
we
about
put it?
where would
Clip,
be
yeah.
the best
Yeah.
part for that to be.
Yeah.
He's like, it's a fucking cave troll.
I love how close they all still are. 'Cause
Yeah.
they're 20 years old now, those
Yeah.
movies, like over 20 years.
They
Yeah.
spend a lot of time together.
Yeah, they
a
did.
lot.
That's another good example of like the ambition of that time period.
And like a creative,
And
like
execution.
a
Yeah.
visionary
They literally
who did not compromise.
Created a village of like potters, metal workers,
And
woodworkers.
And the technology.
yeah.
And the companies that made the technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were just like,
Did Lucas, was he involved in that at all?
no, it's Weta. Yeah. And
Is that Pete Jackson's company?
Yeah.
Like he started the company to,
Yeah.
and then they continued to work after the movie.
when he had a couple movies before that, he did one with Michael J. Fox, where he can see ghosts.
Oh, I love that movie.
That's a good movie.
That's a really good movie.
It is a really good
Screamers.
movie. Yes.
I think about that movie all the time.
That's a good
because
movie. That's
it was
Peter
so
Jackson.
underrated.
Oh, yeah.
And
It's
like
great.
nobody knew about it, and it was a really good. That's a really good movie. You should do that movie.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
I'll
But
add it
he
to the-
kind
add
of
it to the
created it
thing.
like for the effects for that.
Oh, okay.
But what makes those last as long as Fifth Element has lasted is it's all practical effects.
Yeah.
It's people in costumes.
Yes.
Except for Gollum. And even for Gollum, they revolutionized the way they did CG.
Right.
Well, and
Gollum in the first movie was not that great looking. But then there was
what's that actor's name?
Andy
Andy
Serkis.
Serkis.
He does every single shot of Gollum.
Every single
is Andy
scene of
Serkis.
Gollum
Yeah.
is Andy Serkis in motion capture.
And they
suit.
Yeah.
paired up an airbrusher and the guy who was
There
doing
was-
the computer animation, and they were like,
Yeah.
figure out how to make
There was
it
a
look
digital
like skin.
artist that was walking through it was like the Boromir
In the boat.
the
in
Boromir
the
body
boat.
in the boat, and the guy was airbrushing it to look like actual skin, and the like CG artist was like, "Holy shit, how do you do that? Can you show me how to do that?" And I'm going to work with like me and software developers on how to do that on computers. And so
Wait, what
there's
was
this
he doing to Boromir?
Well,
they
because remember
made a-
Boromir, when he dies, they put him in the boat.
Yeah.
And the boat goes
But
over
they made
the
a
water.
model of
They
Boromir.
literally made a model of
They
Boromir
didn't
in
use
a
Sean
boat.
Bean.
Oh, because he had moved on to Game of Thrones.
Because they didn't want to put him over the water.
He went to
I don't
go
know.
die on Game of Thrones.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just
guess.
kidding.
So they implemented this whole thing called subsurface scattering because human skin is slightly translucent. So like you can see like the blue lines
Yeah.
of your blood vessels and things. And so they did that. They figured out how to do that on computer generated renderings of the Gollum model. And that's why in the Two Towers, Gollum looks so good. His skin looks almost real because
They
had
merged.
all of this.
Yeah.
The like creative people had all this freedom to just experiment with whatever shit they wanted to do to make it look better.
And very much not repeatable. Because when they made The Hobbit, the magic was gone.
Yeah,
Right.
true that.
I mean, The Hobbit's like, all right.
The Hobbit had no business being 3 movies.
There was literally, like, I watched an interview with Ian
It's not Screamers.
talking about Gandalf.
Sorry, go on.
Oh, he was talking about being Gandalf, and he said he was in like a green room trying to act by himself, and he just broke down crying because the first 3 movies were such magic, and they were all always together.
Right.
So even when they appear smaller than him, they're just farther away.
Right. They're
as
using
opposed
forced
to-
perspective, or just in post, they shrink
Yeah.
that section.
So instead of like in The Hobbit, where it's almost all composite shots, where they're all doing their acting on green screen and then they all like drop them together. So none of them are actually acting together like they did on Lord of the Rings. And so he literally started crying because he was like, this isn't acting. I don't know what this is.
Yeah. Don't fuck with Ian McKellen.
No.
That's
Why?
Magneto. He'll fuck you up. The Frighteners.
The Frighteners, thank you.
Welcome.
I knew it was like a generic name,
Yeah, me too.
like a generic
That's why I
ghost
thought
name.
it was Screamers.
I think Screamers is a movie.
It is.
Yeah.
Just not that one. Anyways, yeah, no, for sure. And that is really and that's what they said. That's why they're developing they're trying to get back to that because
Yeah.
that wasn't working.
Yeah. It's
Because
not
that's
working.
that's why Star Wars they're using the volume now, right? Which is that stage that has all the LED lighting
Oh, yeah.
and screens on everything.
Have you seen
because
that, Rachel?
the actors So you explain it because you know tech.
So it's
You can explain it to me later.
but
But it's just a way of creating like a more immersive acting experience.
Exactly.
Right.
Because then the actors do a better job.
And
it's
a
like
more
a 350 degree high definition like 10-foot screen on like probably a 50-60 foot diameter circle.
like you would in front of a mat, like when you did a matte painting.
Yes.
Like when you
They
actually
use
in
it
front
like a
of
matte painting,
Yeah.
but then you can do a bunch of other cool stuff.
and you make the lighting authentic.
Yeah.
So the
Yes.
actors are in the what would have been green screened, they're in this area. Like, it's phenomenal. If you watch the Mandalorian episode where Ahsoka comes, you can see the volume in like full effect, and it's
But
incredible.
I think they do something with the actual screen and the camera, so then they can actually do a full green screen effect, but then all the lighting on the characters is representative of the actual green screen image that's on this giant
Yeah,
screen.
because you lose a lot when you put everybody in front of a green screen.
And there's like nuances of coloring and reflections that your brain notices
Yeah.
when you're watching the characters, that if it doesn't match exactly right with the background, it doesn't work.
Yeah, and you know what I love about The Fifth Element also is the brightness.
Yeah.
Because so many movies today are so dark. They're difficult to watch.
So dark that if your TV settings aren't right, people think there's something wrong with it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, which is a lot.
Can you explain, I think I've heard y'all mention this before, what was lost when they switched to doing digital instead of film?
So when you have like an LED TV, you can't have true black because there's parts of your TV, even when your TV is displaying black, it's displaying black as a color. It's not off.
It closes, so the liquid crystal is these things, crystals that rotate and let light through. And so you have like a shutter that lets red light through, green light through, blue light through on each pixel. But when you shut them all the way, they don't block all the light. And so you're letting like gray light through. So on an LCD screen, black is just gray.
So you lose contrast. So you lose that depth of darkness. And so everything ends up feeling like a uniform gray-ish. And there's also like a warmth to film. There's like so your body, where it meets, like if you look at your leg and you see the ground past your leg, there's a like blurry edge along your leg.
Diffraction.
There's a amount of like where there's a scattering of the light where you see two things come together. And when you have digital film, sometimes you lose that. Like if you saw The Hobbit, remember when they released The Hobbit
I
in
know what
like
you're
the
talking
high
about,
frame rate?
because I don't like it.
No.
It doesn't look good.
It doesn't look
It
good.
looks, oh my God. I know exactly what you're talking about,
Yeah.
and I had no idea that's what it was called.
Yeah.
It's where the TV is so clear
Yes.
that you're like you can see their face. Like you can see their face.
It's
Or
too much because
everything is in focus.
that's not
Yeah.
how you experience. That's not how the human eye experiences
and like when
things.
you pan, it doesn't look
Right.
like a movie.
Yeah.
It looks like
A soap opera.
something else. Yeah.
Yeah. Like
I've always said I don't like that. I don't
turn
even
it
know
off.
what's happening.
I always, because they have that motion blur. They have like settings
It's
on
called
your TV
frame interpolation, and
where they'll
every
add
brand
more
has a different
frames
name
to
for
it to like so it'll be crisper and clearer and whatever. But like
So what's that good for? Sports?
Yes, it's good for when things are moving
Like
very
reality?
quickly.
Like reality?
Like video games,
Okay.
documentaries, and sports.
So like nature shows.
Or even
Right.
like action-y scenes in movies.
Yeah.
If there's a lot of stuff moving very quickly across the entire screen, then a high frame rate will make that look slightly better.
Yeah.
But for scenes where things are moving at just regular human speeds, just like human gestures and things, it's too much information.
well, if you think
too
about
clear.
like The Hobbit, they filmed it in that high frame rate, and then they put it in theaters in that high frame rate. And the way it works is literally everything front to back in the frame is all in focus. The mountains in the distance are in focus. The people in the front are in focus. Everything's in focus. And it ends up feeling flat because your eye expects to lose definition through distance. So when you watch the original Lord of the Rings, everything feels epic and massive and deep and huge because the people
Because
in the
when
front
you-
are in focus and everything in the back is blurry.
Slightly blurred. And if you're looking far away, things really close get blurred.
Right. So I mean, digital. We're not getting rid of digital film, but there's it's like having two bright white lights. If you have like when we switched from incandescent bulbs, that was everybody's complaint. Well, it's too bright white. So we had to make the warm white lights.
Have you? Can you tell? Have you noticed the difference between, what was it? Is it incandescent?
Incandescent bulbs?
Yeah, that's what we used to do before the LED bulbs.
Yeah.
That's the way to call those.
Yeah.
Incandescent Christmas lights versus LED lights. They glow. They
Yeah,
they
they have a
sparkle.
different
They're like
warmth.
warm
Yeah.
and like beautiful versus LED, which is just light.
Yeah.
I had some old lights that's incandescent bulbs that worked. They still sell those. They're just cheap. They don't last very long, and LED lights will last for like 3 years.
Yeah. I don't know that they can make incandescent bulbs
Oh,
anymore.
they can.
Oh,
Yeah,
they
you
can.
can still buy the Christmas lights that glow,
Yeah.
and
But they don't.
it feels like a glow versus
I think they're like taxed higher or something.
Yeah.
They're regulated slightly differently.
Yeah. But they just have just a different feel to it. And I think part of maybe that's why the movies feel like so nostalgic when we watch them is because the lighting is so much different.
Are they on film? They're probably on film.
They're probably on, it's filmed on like Super Vista film. It's like it was like a really short-lived film that they filmed it on. Or like Blade Runner, how Blade Runner is dark, but at the same time, there's still contrast. You still know what's going on.
Film has a larger range of brightness that it can actually pick up. And digital cameras, you get like really bright things kind of get like we do on the soundboard. When you get higher, we're actually compressing the volume down so it doesn't blow up people's ears if you like laugh really loud or something.
So for me,
Cough.
all the time.
And so we kind of do
Yeah.
the same thing for like digital images where the range of brightness gets compressed.
Yeah. I also think we've moved away from the movie as an art form in and of itself.
Yeah.
Like a moving picture, a moving like piece of art. Like to me, Blade Runner feels like a moving piece of art.
Right. And this fifth
Because
element
just
feels like a moving piece of art.
And
Yeah, it feels like it feels like art.
there is so much attention to every single piece. Nobody is CG.
But
There's
Twilight-
500 extras.
Does not.
We're not talking about Twilight right now. There's 500. There's like a bunch of extras, right? There's just huge cast in this movie, and every single one
like
of them has a bespoke
1,000 costumes.
costume.
Right.
Every single
What's
one
bespoke
of them
mean?
made specifically for them.
Bespoke.
Usually
Unique.
handmade.
BESPOKE. Like bespoke.
Yeah,
I'll have
Yep.
to look that one up.
it's specifically made for them, for this movie, for this role, for this 3 seconds they're going to be in the
This
background.
room is bespoke.
Yeah.
It is bespoke.
I made it by hand for a specific purpose.
You know what's another word that I think is really fascinating? Germane.
Yeah. Basic.
Yeah.
It's another way of saying basic.
Salient.
Just gonna throw them all out there.
I like salient.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's a great word. I come across words all the time. That's like ongoing theme for me. You know that though.
It's fine.
And
Words
I
are
get
fun.
and I take risks. Sometimes I use words I don't know if I know.
Just throw them out there.
I do.
It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
There was another word in. Anyways, that's a tangent. Sorry. I'm getting sleepy. That's how I can tell. I'm like, I can't even
It's fine.
focus.
It's fine. But anyway, so this is a really good movie in short.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of combinations, a lot of factors in its I mean, misogyny aside.
Yeah.
It's in the right era. It's got the right director, despite the fact that he married a teenager. It's perfectly fine. It's got the right artistic direction. It's got the right like person who protected their artistic vision for this movie.
right.
And I think there's like one group that's doing that right now, and that's Legion M. Have you heard of Legion M?
No.
So Legion M is like a crowd-funded movie studio.
So that's not like A24 or something.
No, it's
They're
it's
not
like
doing that.
I don't think they are, but it's like a literally they'll put up an idea and you can contribute as little as $40, and then they'll get the movie made. And so like they made Mandy, which I'm not sure you would like Mandy, but if you like horror movies, Mandy is a very like true to its vision horror movie.
What,
No
can you,
compromises.
Can you explain it? What's it
It's got
about?
Nicolas Cage in it. And
Is
Nicholas.
it a recent movie?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
You might like Mandy. I don't know. Mandy's very. Do you like you don't like gory horror, scary?
It just depends.
Yeah.
No, I don't like. Is the blood CG?
No.
I probably won't like
Yeah,
it.
it's pretty
Yeah.
much all practical effects.
Yeah.
I
And
don't like practical gore because the cleanup pisses me off.
Okay. Well, it's very.
if that makes sense.
Oh, he's very messy by
It's
the end.
very messy. Yeah, I wouldn't. If you don't like gore, don't watch Mandy.
But
It's a very
ahead.
like nothing was compromised. Nobody sacrificed their vision to make this a more
Palatable.
palatable blockbuster movie.
Yeah.
They weren't aiming for that Marvel money. They were aiming to make a movie that people loved.
Right.
And I'm waiting for us to get back to that. Like
It's a very entertaining
I
movie.
recognize
So
the
Al
cultural
can watch
importance
that.
of
Is
Marvel.
it a good movie?
Yes, it's
Yeah.
engaging. It's entertaining. The characters
Is
are.
it scary?
Yes.
There are scary parts.
It's wild,
Some
and
of
it's
it,
sad.
Some of it is just so out there that you're.
Is it like Hereditary scary?
I haven't seen Hereditary.
What?
Sorry.
What is Hereditary scary?
Wait, you haven't
There's
seen...
a movie called Hereditary.
You guys
Oh,
do you guys
oh, I
like
thought that
scary
was some-
movies?
We like some scary movies. Psychological scary usually. This is a little bit psychological scary. Mandy, but also with gore and people on LSD with knife dicks.
There's only one knife dick.
You got me there.
You can't. I don't think you can use the
I will
plural
watch.
knife dicks.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a really, yeah. Okay. So we can talk about it off air because it can't tell you anything about Mandy because it will ruin Mandy.
Oh, don't ruin it. I
Okay.
might watch it later.
Yeah.
I might rent it.
But I'm waiting for us to get back to this so we can get more movies like The Fifth Element, where like you're thinking about it long after you watch it.
I see movies like that sometimes. I'll tell you a movie that I think about a lot. Old Guard. Did you watch that?
Old Guard was pretty good.
That was a surprisingly
With Charlize Theron.
Yeah, out of fucking nowhere.
I love Charlize
Oh,
Theron.
yeah. Yes, that one
another
was very
movie
good.
that feels as good as this, Mad Max Fury Road.
Yeah.
Every scene, I remember sitting in the theater.
That's another like moving piece of art.
Correct.
Movie.
And I remember sitting in that theater watching this movie and going, I will never experience this again. Because it was so good.
Yeah.
Just precise. Everything moves it forward. Good.
We can do it. And that's what people want, movies like this.
Yeah.
Marvel had its cultural moment and
Yeah.
it's still great. But I mean, great for the people that love it.
Yeah.
But like it needs to reinvent itself.
But the people
too.
that love it are also tired too.
Yeah.
And it needs to change. For something to stay relevant, it has to change. It cannot remain the same.
No.
Because culture shifts, people's wants and needs shift. You can't do the same thing with, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why the Kardashians are headed out.
Yeah.
They're no longer relevant because no one relates to them anymore.
Yeah. I'm just ready for more sincerity. Like
Right. Yeah.
sincerity in a movie.
And that's
yeah.
that is a like social pattern now
Yeah.
across every board.
Yeah.
People don't want to, they want things to be real and honest and authentic.
No more filters, no more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just keep it real.
Yeah.
Be real. Like the new social media app. That's called Be Real.
Okay.
I'll show you about it later.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right. So
Well,
I guess we'll
thanks
just
for
leave
letting
it
me-
there. Yeah.
Thanks for letting me come along.
That was
The
good.
next movie I'd like to be a part of is The Frighteners.
Okay.
In
We will
2
invite
years.
you when we're ready to do the Frainers.
Yeah. If
Yeah.
you ever make it there.
Sounds good.
Did y'all do Mandy?
No. Well, I did Mandy with another podcast.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
I'll listen to it once I watch it.
It was pretty funny.
Did you go to them?
No. Just
you
called
guys
them.
did? Oh, cool. That's neat.
Yeah.
Called them with this?
I did. I think they were just on their phone.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, but then we can send the audio files
Yeah, I sent them our audio
so they
file.
can compile it all.
That's neat. Technology's neat.
Yeah, we've done a few collabs now.
I have. Well, you have. You've done a couple. Yeah.
We've had people on our podcast too.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's fun.
Super fun.
Gets a different, gets a different perspective in the conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah. We didn't even talk about who the big bad guy in Fifth Element is. Just evil.
Oh,
yes.
gosh,
Yeah,
yeah.
just straight evil.
Evil, yeah,
Yeah.
straight evil.
Just
He has
evil.
a skull face and
Yeah.
talks.
It makes a phone call.
He does make a
Yeah.
phone call.
Is it making a phone call?
It is making
It
a
is.
phone
And
call.
then Hershey syrup drips down.
Yeah, and
Gary
she said,
Oldman's face.
he told me not to interrupt unless it was Mr. Shadow, and it's Mr. Shadow.
Yeah. I was watching like a video of somebody and they were like, they're trying to make the like nail polish thing that she's using where
Yeah.
she's just changing her nails
Yes.
with the little thingy. They're like, we're so close to the Fifth Element nail polish thing.
And the makeup box.
Yeah. And the makeup box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Just and done.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Eyeliner that would be amazing. Just stamps it
And
right
then
on
it's
there.
on for like the whole rest of the, even when she gets wet and then she gets cleaned up, it's like back.
Yep.
Maybe she took it with her, packed it in her suitcase,
Yeah, she
stuck it in her orange strappy thing. Her orange thongkini, whatever it is that she's wearing.
Suspender, kini.
Yeah, because she's only got like tights on.
She has like a pant on, a tight pant,
Yeah.
and a belt and a suspenders, like silicone
Yeah.
suspenders.
Which she's really excited to get. I mean, he brings her like a lot of reasonable clothing, and she does choose that clothing
Yeah.
out of the pile.
Yeah.
When she's like, oh, thank you.
It's definitely not utilitarian.
No.
I don't know what that word means, but it feels like
No.
it fit there.
And I was reading the trivia for the movie, and for some reason, it's like a huge pet peeve of mine when they describe the main character that speaks in like a made up language as having become fluent in that language. They're always like, oh yeah, there was only like 400 words in that language, but like Mila Jovovich already speaks 4 languages, so she picked it up really quickly and she became fluent in it. And like her and Luke Besson could like have conversations in it.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it's like, that's always a pet peeve. They said the same thing about Zoe Saldana in like Avatar when she has the language that she speaks. They're like, by the end of it, she could have a conversation in it.
Wait, why is that a pet peeve?
It just is.
But
I don't-
why? What about it bothers you?
I don't know.
Because it's not possible to have an entire conversation in a language,
In a
with
language
only
that you just made up.
with only 400 words.
Yeah.
You can't be fluent in a language
With
that you
only
can't
4
talk about everything in.
With only 400 words.
Right.
Yeah. Just like, oh,
It's
they
the
spoke it so much. Well, no, they just learned lines in it.
They're
It's not-
conversationally proficient in it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know why. It just always bothers me. I'm like, I don't want to hear about that. I don't care. But I'm happy that they liked it. I liked their made up language. I don't know. It's just weird. It's like one of those things that every time I read about it, I'm like, ugh, gross.
Yeah, I understand.
Maybe it feels audacious. I don't know. That just like the
It's,
arrogance of like, oh yeah, I'm fluent in ancient or whatever the language is called because it existed before time was time.
Yeah.
In the Fifth Element.
Because it's obviously bullshit.
Well,
It does sound like she's just
Bravado.
making noise.
yeah.
Like, it doesn't sound like she's speaking to me.
There's a couple scenes, like there's the scene where she first talks to Corbin in the cab, where it sounds like she's speaking a language. And then there's, this is what stuck in my head. And then the scene where she's sitting at the computer studying, and she's just info dumping to Cornelius.
Oh yeah, and Cornelius is translating.
Yeah.
I don't know. The only person who gets to claim to have been fluent in a language is J.R.R. Tolkien.
I was about to say, please say Tolkien.
Because he created the language, the grammar,
But wasn't
the
he a
culture.
linguist?
Yeah, he was a linguist.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, apple is this word and cheese is this word. And we're
Yeah.
going to use the same grammar and we're going to use I don't know.
And that makes a lot of sense. And I think it might be your respect for that kind of depth in creating a language. So when you hear other people use the same describe them, it just feels so surface.
Yeah.
And you hate that.
Yeah, it's literally like
Sorry,
they
I
made
have
up
to
a best
figure out
friends
how-
code.
I have to figure out why Rachel feels about things all
It's
the time.
literally like they made a best friends code.
Yeah, and they're like,
just,
we're fluent in each other's best friends codes.
Yeah.
we walk
Yeah.
around and they were 20 years apart.
And I can just imagine like them having this made up funny conversation with each other on set and everybody else just being wildly uncomfortable.
because the 40-year-old and the 20-year-old who's married to the other actress on set
Yeah.
have their best friend language.
Yes, that. Maybe that's part of it too. Just
Yeah,
a little
it
bit.
is,
Yeah.
it is uncomfortable.
Yeah. All right. Well, I segued us back into the movie when we were trying to wrap up. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I
That's
just
a
remembered
really
we'd
reasonable
totally
point.
forgotten about
How much
evil.
long time has it been? Oh, wow. Cool,
Yeah.
cool.
I mean, what's the best bad guy ever? Just a ball of evilness.
Yeah, that flies
Right.
fast.
I like
Yeah.
that they didn't try to
Give it more reasoning.
right
or-
give it a body or anything
No,
like that.
they explain nothing. They're
right.
just like,
it's a short story.
yeah,
And that is what it works for these epic fantasies, is when it is a clip for a
Yeah.
movie that is an hour and a half long, right?
yeah.
It's a clip.
And there's
Versus like
yeah.
versus like a Dune, which is a story
Right.
in 2 hours.
Yeah.
And that when we have the option of these long format things, that's why Mad Max works so well. It was a novella.
Yeah.
It's a short story in an hour and a half to 2 hours, and it's perfect and brilliant.
Yeah,
and
the
you can do
90-minute
it.
movie, can we bring back the 90-minute movie?
Right.
Like, it's perfectly fine.
And
I'm
it-
happy to go
and
see a
not try
90-minute movie.
and do like an entire novel in
Yeah.
90 minutes.
Yeah.
Like Lord of the Rings. Okay, it's just like what they're doing with Harry Potter. I have known for years and years and years and years. At some point, they would go, "We need to make it into a TV series because each book deserves 10-hour-long episodes because that is a better format for that kind of IP."
Yeah.
right.
And where'd it go? What was I talking about?
Harry Potter, TV.
Yeah, but we're getting it now.
Yeah.
They've already decided like, oh, we can redo this and we can give people what they want.
Yeah.
And like Lord of the Rings, it's the same thing. Like, I mean, they were so perfect. They did so well. Like, you can't redo Lord of the Rings. But imagine if Pete Jackson had done 3 seasons of 10-hour-long episodes.
At that same production
At
quality.
that same production quality.
Yeah.
It would have been the greatest experience of our entire lives.
Yeah. Just the book
Instead
stuff,
of like
though.
Game
Like,
of Thrones and sorry.
Yeah. You brought it back around.
Always.
It's a Game of Thrones.
But yeah, like the short stories.
The 90-minute movie is fine.
Yeah.
And there's a certain amount of depth you can add to a movie by just not explaining shit. Like,
You do that with any world building.
yeah, any world building. You can, if you leave, you
just
don't expositate about something. You just leave
You
it.
trust your audience.
Yeah.
But enough. It has
Right,
to
to
be
fill in the
enough.
gaps.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to fill in enough gaps. They feel in the world, but leave enough open that they feel like there's depth. Like there's more. There's so much to this world. You can't even explain it all.
But think about how much world building we get in every scene.
Yeah.
Just by being in Bruce Willis's apartment, Corbin's apartment,
Yeah.
you know, just by
Yep.
seeing out his window.
Just the taxi scene where he goes down through the world
And
and,
down-
we
and he-
see all of the stuff
and
and then
we-
we see the fog at
And
the
we
bottom.
never see the earth. We never see the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a good movie.
Yeah, it's a great
Except in Egypt by the pyramid.
Yeah,
That's in
except for-
19 that's when they go
Yeah,
back.
except I don't want to go to Egypt. That's what the guy said.
Well, they're in
They
New York
got-
City, so
That little character, the side character, does an incredible job
yeah.
at giving me anxiety.
I know. I love the part where he comes back and he's like, I never should have sent you. And he's like, I know.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a
Like
mistake.
they do a great job of. I have a lot of empathetic anxiety for them. They make the stakes higher by just being entirely out of control and
Yeah.
out of their league. You know.
Yep. Yeah. But they figure it out in the end because he's like,
Yeah.
we're not going to make
I mean,
it.
he makes it in. Yeah, he makes it into the ventilation shaft.
Yeah.
You know, and then like dangles down.
I know. Cornelius.
Cornelius.
All right. So I guess
So
we'll leave
remember-
it here. Oh, good job, honey.
So remember, sometimes the strangest things are the most beautiful too.
So be who you are and love what you love. Until next time, friends.
Bye.
Bye.
Shatter.
You are listening to a Strange and Beautiful Network podcast, a network of shows focusing on unscripted discussions that promote positive but honest engagement with all the weird and wonderful topics that make our hearts happy. I want to take a moment to express my heartfelt gratitude to all our listeners. Your continuous support and engagement mean the world to us, so if you're enjoying the show, make sure to spread the love. Rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts. Follow us on Instagram at Strange and Beautiful Network to stay updated on the latest episodes, behind-the-scenes peeks, and exclusive content from all our shows. You can also find additional ways to support this show on our Patreon page at patreon.com/Strange and Beautiful Network. By becoming a patron, you'll gain access to bonus episodes, early releases, our Discord channel, and other exciting perks. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.